Hey everybody, this is Hollywood from the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, and you're listening to the Card Subject to Change podcast. I hope you enjoy it. Have a good day. Bye.
It's a lot of thought, Nick, and I want to run it by you.
Sure.
I think the surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, Mantar. Everything has a more real sports feel, and it gets you invested that much more.
The dude's teeth aren't probably as big either.
It gives it more of a big fight feel. It makes it feel more real. If that glass shatters, I won't be ashamed. There will be happy man tears streaming down my face. Just the goosebumps will be bumped out. I'll hold my arm out like The Rock so you can see my goosebumps. And I'll have happy man tears coming down my face if that glass shatters. Oh, my goodness.
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and never wrong, Nick Bull.
Hello, one and all. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast. Of course, you're at the home of the podcast for the fan, by the fan. We are powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zoo Country Financial. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Never Wrong, Nick Bull. I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce my co-host. We're in the same room today recording this. The Wizard CZ. Wiz, how you doing over there?
Man, I'm feeling good. It is a beautiful day here at the Highview Lounge and Studio. I'm excited. We got some fun stuff to talk about. We're reviewing the King and Queen of the Ring premium live event from Saudi Arabia, episode 125.
125.
Before we get to that, Nick, I want to tell, I posted it on Facebook, but we have yet to announce it on the air.
Yep.
We got some merch, baby.
Yeah, we do. Go ahead and plug that. We do have some merch out there if you want your own Card Subject to Change gear. CZ, fill them in real quick.
So we are on TeePublic, TeePublic. Just search for Card Subject to Change. The link is on Facebook. I will be posting it on our other socials here again in the near future. But we've got our new Card Subject to Change. The only difference between the shirts we had previously is that it says established in 2022. And we have my favorite shirt that is out there. We've got two designs right now. We have our famous catchphrase.
Welcome back to the show.
Oh, welcome back to the show.
But it's not just t-shirts. You can get coffee mugs, tote bags. I believe coffee. I said coffee mugs.
You said coffee mugs.
There's a bunch of stuff on there. Go check it out. Buy a t-shirt if you want to support the show. We appreciate that. We love you guys for tuning in. I think it's fantastic. And it's nice that we have that.
And you can throw that link onto this later and tag it on this show, can you not?
Exactly.
Yep,
I'll put it in the comments.
He'll throw the link on so you can click on the link. If you have to scratch that itch, that is, to get some Card Subject to Change gear, there is some available for you out there. But yeah, thank you very much, CZ, for letting the folks and fans know about that. Episode 125, Ring Royalty. This is kind of an odd occurrence for us to be in the same room when we record a show. We try to do it on these immediate reacts right after these afternoon pay-per-views. I love afternoon wrestling. It's great. We got the rest of our day now. Now we don't have to worry about going to work tomorrow and the scare of Monday morning. We got the rest of our weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend, and we were treated to King and Queen of the Ring from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, of course, on the other side of the world. So a noon local start time for us. And I like these. You go into it and you're like, oh, there's only 5 matches. Yeah, but that tells you you're going to get a show around 3 hours or just a little bit under. There's nothing wrong with that, especially there's an abundance of wrestling this weekend and an abundance of wrestling to review here for us on Card Subject to Change, which we're looking forward to. But today we get a 5-match pay-per-view out of WWE in a show that runs just a little bit under 3 hours.
And the thing that I like about a 5-match pay-per-view is you can almost always guarantee that it's going to be a quality show, because everyone's going to get time to do what they need to do. You don't have to rush through 10 or 12 matches, and it's not going to be 4 or 5 hours on a Sunday night when you're getting ready to go to work the next morning.
Right.
Of course, you know who I'm talking about, which they do have a show tomorrow. Thankfully, it is Memorial Day weekend, but we're not here to talk about AEW. We'll talk about that on Monday. So stay tuned for that. This was another solid effort. I think WWE has really done a good job with their pay-per-views of late. There's been maybe a stinker match or two, but rarely a stinker event.
Yeah, coming off WrestleMania, coming off Backlash, and the crowd that we had for Backlash in Lyon, France. The momentum, WWE's been on a roll. The shows have been good. We're getting the conclusion of the Queen and the King of the Ring tournaments rolled into this one. It's Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. It's an enthusiastic crowd. You had to think going into this, there was no way the Saudi Arabian crowd could hold a candle to the French's effort. They tried. It was not a dead show crowd-wise. They really did try, and they were involved, just not to the extent, maybe to the volume that the French crowd was. But that doesn't take away from this pay-per-view. I thought another fun pay-per-view, great by any means, no. Bad by any means, no. It's a pretty so-so show, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've been treated to a lot of good wrestling, lately. We were treated to some good wrestling on this show. Just not the greatest pay-per-view ever, but we both liked it. We both had fun watching it. I think it's easier to wrap your mind around. It's easier to enjoy when there's not 10 matches on a card.
I agree.
On a 5-match card, nothing's getting cut. Nothing's getting cut due to time. If it did, you've got a horrible producer and a horrible timer of a show if you're cutting something on a 5-match show. So there's a good chance, a better chance you're running into full matches. Let the story breathe. Let the match play out. You're getting that on these 5-match cards. And I think it not only it showcases your wrestlers more. You're not just doing a drive-by with all your talent. You're showcasing your talent. You're giving time for matches to breathe. You're giving time for people to build their character. You're giving time for stuff to evolve in real time. I don't think you get that on a more jam-packed show. Maybe that's why they're going with this 5-match approach.
And obviously, Saudi shows are a big deal with the agreement. I believe it's how long? It's a 5-year.
It was a 10-year. It was a 10-year deal. Yeah.
So obviously, they're a big deal. And, you'll have the fans out there that'll be like, well, why wasn't so-and-so on the show? Why wasn't this person on the show? You don't need to overload your cards. And I think that happens way too often in a lot of areas where you're trying to get more talent on, you're trying to get more people to pay them,
Mm-hmm.
and it just doesn't work.
Yeah. And this is a cost-effective thing maybe for WWE. You're shipping people to halfway, other side of the world. The SmackDown crew was there. So you saw a lot of the SmackDown people either featured on the card, or if they weren't on the card, guess what? They were featured in the audience. They called out DIY or DIY. They called out the Street Profits. They called out everybody's favorite Tiffy time in the crowd watching. So Chelsea Green, another thing, was in the crowd watching. So the people that were on SmackDown, they tried to use them as much as possible since they were there for SmackDown. They're not going to bring the Raw people over unless they were on this card. So that was your Gunther, that was your Lyra Valkyrie, that was Sammy, Gable, Bronson Reed. They brought the bare minimum over for Raw. It makes sense. It's a cost-effective thing, and you don't have to have the way they built this pay-per-view. They built it well. Like I never once thought during the buildup of this pay-per-view CZ, like, God, they better add some more matches. There's not enough matches. Never once thought that. I thought they had a really good job of what they of putting on the plate what they had, cooking it up, developing it, and not really having us want any more than we got. And I thought I like that approach. I really do.
Oh, I agree. And the matches that we had all felt like they meant something. Let's kick it off with sometimes we go in order, sometimes we go out of order. I want to save the last two matches for last. I think those were the best two on the card.
Yep.
Let's just start at the beginning and talk about Becky and Liv.
Very important to note, if we're talking about Becky and Liv, there was that interview on the pre-show with Byron Saxton, Liv Morgan, and then Dominic Mysterio comes in. And Dominic said he was going to do all he could to keep Mommy's title out of Liv Morgan's hands. So that was on the pre-show, and I think we need to know about that going into this match.
And I want to ask you this, kind of with that being said.
Sure.
There have been several instances WWE does not do things on accident, where you have seen hints of something going on between Liv and Dominic.
Sure.
You see Dominic's bandana in Liv's pocket at one point. You see them both coming out of the same room behind an interview at one point.
Yep.
So was Dominic really there to prevent Liv from getting Mommy's title? Or is there something else going on?
On the surface, he could have been. On the surface, that very well could be the answer, that he was there to prevent that title from getting in Mommy's hands. But as you know, that did not work. His plan backfired, which means more turmoil now for the Judgment Day. Maybe Dom was there against Priest's orders. Maybe Priest obviously didn't know that Dom went there. Maybe Priest didn't know that what Dom was going to do. Dom may be acting alone here, or acting behind Damian Priest's back, which I think is a big story. So a lot of layers to this match. A good back and forth match between Becky and Liv. First time we've really got to see Liv work since her comeback. She's had some shorter stuff, but nice long form match here with Becky. I think I made the comment to you, maybe to our buddy Mass, who's a fan of the show, when we were watching the pay-per-view. Excuse me, give these women credit. They're used to wrestling each other. And I'm not being sexist when I say this. They're used to wrestling each other with less clothing on. I think it's got to be hard for them to wrestle in those full body suits that they do in Saudi Arabia. And I think it's got to be, I think it's hard for both of them. And I think it'd be really hard to go into it full tilt. When you're wrestling in something you're not normally wrestling in, that head to toe leather jumpsuit that they wear, they're required to wear when they're over in Saudi. So props to the ladies in this match. Becky kind of looked like a butler with her thing, and Liv Morgan
wearing a tuxedo without the tie,
like a piece of licorice. That's how we kind of classify them here at the Highview Watch Party. That's why I got my sunglasses on. We got the doors open here at the Highview. It's a beautiful day. Recording this Media React show for Ring Royalty episode 125 here on the Card Subject to Change. Beautiful day. Hope you're enjoying your day as well as you listen back to this show, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Let us know what you think about the show. Hit us on our socials. Give us your thoughts on what you thought the match of the card was, how the show was, and all in general, what you liked about the show. Hit us up, and we'll definitely catch you back on those, and get you answered on those. But yeah, do you have any more thoughts about this opening match besides what I've said?
I thought the ending was really well put together. I think it was done the right way because you don't really know what's going on between Liv and Dom. Yeah, on the surface, you've got Dom trying to protect Mommy's title, but you've got hints and other things going on behind the scenes. So it'll be interesting to see where things shape out and what happens when Mommy gets back in ring shape and comes back to perform for us.
Hey, you bring up a good point there. A lot of stuff's been happening in the background on Raw. The interview segments backstage, you see stuff happening. But I think everybody really noticed and jumped on the Liv and Dom leaving the same room, having a secret meeting down the hallway that one night. That seems to be the polarizing moment that people are talking about with these backstage subtle hints. So gives you a reason to watch closer on that backstage stuff. But yeah, is Dom acting alone? We don't know. Dom has obviously got some interest in Liv, and Liv's got some interest in Dom. And Dom's face when the chair tactic backfired and Liv was able to DDT Becky onto the chair and get the win, get the chair out of the ring. it was a look of shock and awe, but it wasn't an upsetting look.
Right.
So I like how Dom played that. He gets so much good heat in this company. Going to get more now when they get stateside and recap this on Monday's show. You would think that he'll definitely get some heat over this, but his involvement sparked a lot of interest and kind of piqued the interest of this match. And they're in the closing moments, and he looked upset, but not too upset when Liv took Mommy's gold. So it's something to keep an eye on.
One more thing I want to point out,
Sure.
and that's the commentary at the end of this match.
Sure.
Is obviously we notice the things that are going on in the background, but the commentators don't seem to notice these background things that are happening. I mean, sure, the QR codes that have been coming up that are teasing, which we'll talk about at another time.
Yeah.
Cole did mention those on the air this past Monday on Raw, but as far as like the whole Liv and Dom coming out of that same room, Michael Cole was completely oblivious because he called Dom an idiot for costing Becky the title.
I like that we're not brought up to speed on that by the announcers.
Yes.
It's kind of the unspoken narrative. It's the part of the show you need to watch without us telling you what's going on. We're going to let you speculate on it. We're not going to tell you what's going on. And I think it adds a dimension, not only to the show, not only to the talent by all involved. It adds a dimension to fandom. It gives us something more to talk about.
Absolutely. It does.
I like that Graves and Cole are not acknowledging what's going on backstage. Like, hey, they probably know. The fans know, but they're not going to say that they know. And I like that. I like that right now. I really like that production, that creative angle to it.
So, how do you feel about the way the card was stacked? Before we go into the next match, I kind of feel like we're going to talk about the last two matches last because that's the way it should be, in my opinion. But and as far as the crowd goes, the crowd was into those last two matches quite a bit.
Yep.
But usually you would put a match that isn't going to be the best match ever or isn't going to have fans as invested in some of these other matches in that dead spot right before the main event. Now, that's not wasn't dead today. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that, but
I know we kind of discussed when the show was going on, we thought maybe the King and Queen matches should have been flipped on the card. I see why they did it, to give the Queen of the Ring Finals its own spotlight before the King, which is fine. It probably gave it it was probably in the right spot to get its recognition, to get both those females over. Lyra Valkyria, who is a recent NXT call-up in the draft, has won the Raw side of this Queen of the Ring tournament and got her place in the finals. They've been pushing her. They see something with her, so she's going to be around. So she needed that time. I think. I don't think this match gets full attention if it's slotted between Gunther Orton, Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes. I don't think it gets the attention from the fans. I don't think it gets the proper coverage that it deserves because it falls between those two matches. Undoubtedly, the two matches that everybody really wanted to see on this card. So them putting it third in its own spotlight, making you focus on the show, making you wait for dessert that we got with the following two matches. I see why they did it, and I agree with them.
And I do too. I was just playing devil's advocate because of what we had talked about during our watch of the show is usually that match where, quite frankly, I don't know, and I could be wrong. Me as a fan, I'm not invested in either of those women. I have no investment in Nia Jax other than I think that they're doing a great job as building her as a monster heel again. They're bringing her up quite a bit, and I like that aspect. But Lyra Valkyria, I don't have any interest in. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she needs to grow on me, but she just kind of falls flat to me.
She does kind of have a bland existence right now. I don't think there were enough people that were diehards of NXT that are following her now. Like, I don't think, okay, Dragunov getting called up, one of the biggest stars on the male side in NXT, correct?
Correct.
Carmelo Brown or Carmelo Hayes getting called up, undoubtedly one of the top two or three stars. Huge, right? I don't get that sense from Lyra Valkyria. I mean, she's a former NXT champion. She can go in the ring, but I just don't think she had that oomph behind her, that following, that it factor.
I could name a couple people that I would have rather.
Seems to be lacking in charisma. I'm not knocking her. I'm not knocking her in-ring product. She can wrestle. But I think there's a lack of charisma there. I think that's why people maybe haven't gotten behind her as per se, the way they've gotten behind a Tiffany Stratton. There is some charisma there. There is some character there. She'll sass back to the fans. The fans eat that up. Lyra working face here. It didn't seem like she had the big face following behind her. And I'll give some props to Nia Jax while I'm talking about this match. Nia's done a great job. She shed some pounds. She moves around the ring better. I like that they're building her as a monster. I like that she uses the power moves. I like that she works a slower, methodical pace. I hope they keep building her this way. I hope they don't put her under the microscope of stupid things to throw at her. Just keep her strong and booked as a monster. Don't make her look stupid. And I think it's going to make her look so much better and so much more believable.
100%. And the end of that match, I thought Lyra was dead.
I hope Lyra went to the bathroom before that match, because if she didn't, she was going to have a mess to clean up inside that full lower suit, because Nia Jax splashed her. I like the power ending to that. It was a definite ending. There was no shenanigans involved. It was, this is over. Like before they counted 3, you could have counted to 10, because everybody knew with that drop, it was over.
And I don't know which one of us said it, you, me, or our buddy Mass, but how her head didn't go one direction and her body go the other, like her feet popping off and going. And just,
I know. So props to Nia Jax and Lyra Valkyrie on their match. Nia Jax, that was match 3. We kind of went out of order there, but that's okay. Nia is your queen of the ring. All hail Queen Nia.
All hail.
What match did we skip there? What was the second match of the night?
That was the triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship.
That's right. Sami Zayn, a lot of momentum coming from him off WrestleMania, beating Gunther, ending that 666-day streak that Gunther had of the title. Sami, now your IC champ, and this has been kind of one of the hotter feuds in both the shows, Raw and SmackDown and all of wrestling right now. Is the Sami Zayn Gable kind of back and forth, the unraveling of their suspected friendship. Now it's gone completely unraveled with members of Alpha Academy getting involved. And then you inject a big 330-pound Bronson Reed into this, and you've got an IC triple threat match. Wasn't a fan of Bronson getting added to this, because I think Sami and Gable to have their one-on-one match.
Yes.
Culmination of the story. Maybe this was just getting us to that. I don't know if it happens at Clash. I don't know if it happens at SummerSlam. I don't know if it has the legs to make it to SummerSlam. Maybe. I don't know. We will see. But I think Sami and Gable need to have their one-on-one match. I think everybody wants to see that.
I completely agree. And I'm going to say on air what I said to you while we were watching. And this is not a slight in the least at Sami Zayn. I love Sami. I think he is brilliant. But I think he is a better title chaser than title holder. Because, I mean, he's the underdog from the underground. He's always got to have that he's always going to have that stigma, unfortunately. And I hate to say that, because I love seeing him with the title. He's held the Intercontinental title several times in many different incarnations of Sami Zayn, whether he's spouting conspiracy theories or he's this underdog of the underground. But that persona that he presents, being that underdog in just about every match he's in, it just feels better if he's chasing the title for a little while and getting that big win. I don't think the build to WrestleMania was as good as it could have been if it were a little longer, showing that underdog build, because it just kind of got thrown out there. I think Chad Gable should have been in the match. Why he wasn't, I don't know. And again, I'm not knocking Sami Zayn by any means,
Right.
because I love the man. He's brilliant. Learned a lot from El Generico, who's now helping orphans somewhere in the world. Somewhere. We don't know where. But no, he feels better as a chaser. And if you feel I'm wrong, Nick, or if any of you watching and listening feel I'm wrong, let me know. I'll gladly take that criticism. But he just feels better in that role where he doesn't have the title and he's trying to get the title at least for a while.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. He's a better chaser. But how long do you keep the belt on him, CZ, so he doesn't get the label of transitional champion and he's back to the chase again?
That's a tough
He's
one.
going to have to hold his belt, I think, a little bit, knowing the reign that he just ended. Like maybe another month, maybe another 2 months. He holds it. I don't know. I don't know. I want Gable and Sammy. I think maybe that's the summer program that they'll have end at SummerSlam, maybe. And maybe we're finally going to get the unraveling. We started to see the unraveling of the Alpha Academy in this match. I thought all three guys worked really well together.
Yes.
I can watch all three guys' matches and not be bored. Gable's very entertaining, amateur wrestling background. Bronson Reed being a big guy who can move and can work. And then there's Sammy. So there's three guys in this match that usually hold my attention to matches when they're on. I don't fast forward them. I don't skip them. I want to see what they do. I want to see what they have to say. So I know we talked earlier that we'd rather have it a one-on-one match. The fact they made it a triple threat didn't really poo-poo or take away from this match. I thought all three guys worked well together. Gable's just, God, he's something else. But there comes the moment in that match with Gable and Otis that kind of swung the balance in favor of Sammy retaining. Gable was taken out inadvertently by Otis.
Sorry, okay. I was just making sure my feature on my picture that I'm using to use this particular microphone turn looks like it turned off. So I wanted to
It's still on.
It's still on.
Hey,
I'm still here.
welcome back to the show, by the way. What were your thoughts on this triple threat? And how the spot with Otis took place.
I thought it was really good. I liked the spot with Otis. I liked that we're getting seeds planted for Otis and Turner to do a face turn on Gable, to not want to help Gable do these dashes and things. I like that a lot. I think it's a good momentum, and it's going to make Otis even bigger when we finally get to that point. No, I'm not taking the crap, Chad.
I mean, we want Otis to rip that Band-Aid off, don't we? We really want him to just rip it off, but he's peeling it off ever so slowly, and he's getting to that point. It's coming to a head where something's got to give, and it's probably going to be, Otis finally snapping on Gable, the fall of the Alpha Academy as we know it, and then, we're going to see Otis Gable out of this at some point. They're going to feud. So whether it's for the IC strap down the line, who knows? But I think that's kind of what I see as this split is evolving before our eyes.
Yes, I completely agree. Nick, I know we have some momentum going. We've got 2 more matches to cover, but it's time we take our customary break. We got to pay dues to the sponsor.
You're absolutely right. We got 2 more matches to talk about. We also have the big announcement from Triple H that he made during this match or during this show to talk about after the break. But we are taking a break, correct? Is that what we're doing here?
Correct. We're gonna pause for just a minute here. Stay tuned if you're tuning in live. This is Card Subject to Change, powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook, Country Financial. We'll be back here in just about 2 minutes.
Football season may be over, but for frequency's sake, still has you covered for all your sporting needs. Tune in every Sunday when the best professional wrestling podcast around, Card Subject to Change, gets you caught up on everything inside the ropes. They won't miss a count with weekly analysis and interviews. More into auto racing? We've got a double dose for you on the track. Tune in to Fast Money with Rod Villagomez each week and win some money with the quickest bets in all of sports. Want more insight from Pit Row? Check out the Green, White, and Checkered podcast where they give their insight on everything happening on and off the track. Need your basketball fix? Points in the Paint has you covered with live shows every other week looking at everything in the association. Backed by popular demand, we have the return of The Payoff Pitch, FFSQC's baseball show, covering you on news around the MLB. If you're missing football, don't fret. Mark and Dan still have you covered in the football lounge. Missing Joe Winkle? Probably not, but he's still here talking sports on Educated Ignorance. Football season might be over, but we've still got you covered. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
For Frequency's Sake is brought to you by Durham Remodeling, serving the Quad City area's remodeling and repair needs since 1973. Clint's Draft House, grab a bite and a pint. 7th Street Moline. Lopez, New York-style pizza served up by the slice or pie, Davenport. Lifted Energy, energy drinks, coffee, donuts, and more. #GetLifted. Atomic Sports Cards and Collectibles. Sports cards and memorabilia, vintage clothing, hats, pennants, and more. Ryan Allison Tattoo. Step into the vibrant world of tattoos with Ryan Allison. And A Cut Above, offering quality custom woodwork designed specifically around our customers.
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show.
You were waiting for me to.
I think you were waiting for me. I was waiting for you.
I thought you were going to say something. No, welcome back to the show. This is podcast. This is the Card Subject to Change podcast. Excuse me, the podcast by the fan for the fan. I am your host, never wrong, Nick Bull, joined by my co-host, my co-tag team champion partner of the For Frequency's Sake Network, the Wizard CZ. Wiz, we've been breaking down King and Queen of the Ring. We've had 3 matches so far. We've got probably the 2 undoubtedly most look forward to matches to talk about yet, with the men's King of the Ring final between Randy Orton and Gunther. We've got the WWE Championship match to break down with Cody and Logan Paul. What are your thoughts on the show so far after these 3 matches and how the pacing has been and what you've seen so far?
Pacing was pretty decent. I thought the women's match was, what's the right word? Kind of low-key. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, but it was definitely subdued compared to the first 2 and to the last. It kind of, the crowd just didn't seem to be there.
You're talking about the Lyra Valkyria,
Lyra
and Nia
Valkyria
Jax,
and
the Queen of the Ring final. Yes, okay,
Yes.
okay.
It felt kind of lackluster. But overall, the show up to this point has been pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's the greatest thing I've ever seen, but definitely far from the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I thought good pay-per-view so far. I was happy with what I'd seen. We've seen a title change. We've seen Nia Jax emphatically win. We've seen Sami Zayn retain in front of a crowd very pro Sami. So far, so good. I thought we had a decent show going, and we get to the match that I was looking forward to the most. I was looking forward to this more than the championship match. It's kind of a first-time matchup for these two. We haven't seen these two work together before. Yeah. So another reason why I was looking at him, I'm talking about Randy Orton and Gunther for the King of the Ring final. I really liked this match. There's the talk out there that it ended in controversy. We'll get to that in a second. But I thought these two are both methodical, predatory-like strikers. They're very calculated and measured in what they're doing. There's not a lot of wasted movement with these two. And the fact they both work a little slower pace I thought, okay, is this match going to drag? But it complemented each other. They complemented each other so well in the fact that they're both slow and methodical. They both let the other guy take their time doing their thing, which is great. You got one of the all-time greats in there in Randy Orton, a 14-time WWE or 14-time world champion, okay? He's going to be considered one of the greats for the next, when he retires, he's going to be probably talked of top 10 all time. Yeah. I think he'll be in that conversation. And you've got the hottest thing they got going. And I'm talking Gunther with WWE, hottest thing they got going. He's on a rocket ship, even after losing the Intercontinental Championship. And now you have these two inanimate objects crossing paths, and something's got to give. And I've loved this. Almost felt like a SummerSlam or a WrestleMania type match, just because we've never seen these guys work before. They're two great workers. Maybe that's just me being a Gunther fan and being partial, but being excited to see this first time matchup. But I really liked the atmosphere for this match, the chemistry these two had. Wish the match would have went a little longer, but maybe they ended it the way they did. What do you think about this match?
So I'm going to play off of something you said.
Yep.
You said that their methodical styles complemented each other. Let me tell you why I think that was. And this is my opinion. And that's what this show. It's our show. It's my opinion.
Well, sure you can.
But
maybe.
I'm going to say a couple of words that I think sum this match up: psychology and storytelling. They definitely told probably the best story of the night in ring. And the psychology of this match, where they were both playing off each other's injuries that occurred during the match. They were the methodicalism, if that's a word. I just found the word, I think.
Methodicalism. Mark Wizardson, everybody.
It's magical. But no, the way they just moved around, and the way that they played off of each other's injuries and their what's the word I'm looking? Their I know what I want to say, and I'm blanking on the words. Their strengths and weaknesses. That's what I would do.
Sure.
The way they played off of each other's strengths and weaknesses made this match just absolutely 10 times better than it was on paper. And this was my match of the night. It
was my match of the night too. I know, no surprise, Gunther in my match of the night, but I don't care. The guy's that good. You can say what you want about him. That's fine, but you're not going to take away from his in-ring work. It is unbelievable.
Can I make a bold prediction?
I want to. Is it about these two?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
It's about Gunther.
Okay, because I'll let you make your bold prediction, then I'll tell you what I want to see out of these two.
So first and foremost, I'm going to go ahead and spoil the Triple H announcement. I'm going to talk.
Yeah. Now it's time to do it.
Clash at the Castle. Damian Priest defending his title against the now medically cleared Drew McIntyre.
That's June 15th, Clash at the Castle, your next WWE premium live event. Yep.
Clash at the Castle takes place in Glasgow, Scotland. They have already made it so that Drew McIntyre did not win in his home country or his home area at the last Clash in the Castle when he faced Roman Reigns. So here's where I'm thinking this is building. Damian Priest is going to drop the title to Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. Give Drew McIntyre that huge win in his home country at his event. Gunther versus Drew at SummerSlam. We have already seen them in so brilliant of matches. I think it's just going to blow it out of the water, and I think that is the coronation of Gunther.
Wow, they're gonna take it off Priest, put it on Drew, and have Drew drop it to Gunther at SummerSlam is what you're saying.
That's my prediction.
Okay. Let it be known at the 39:50 second mark of episode 125, Ring Royalty, CZ made his SummerSlam prediction. Let me ask you this. Does CM Punk get involved in any of that?
Oh, that is really tough. I think CM Punk is getting closer and closer to being cleared. I can see him being cleared by SummerSlam, and I can see him being the reason that Gunther is your new World Heavyweight Championship.
You know, I see both sides of it. I can see Punk costing Drew a second time this year on the two biggest shows of the year. I could see that. But if Punk costs Drew in this situation, does that take away from Gunther winning?
I can see both sides of it, honestly. I can see, yes, it does.
Because I don't think you can look at it like a cash-in situation.
No.
Punk beat up Drew. Priest cashed in. That wasn't a match that was built. It happened.
Right.
5.5 minutes or whatever after the opening of WrestleMania's match ended. Okay. So I don't think you can compare the two. But if Punk helped Gunther win, would it steal some of Gunther's shine?
I don't know that it would. I can see where you're coming from. I definitely can, because it's a tainted victory, but Gunther always looks strong. And maybe it's just some kind of inadvertent slip where Gunther is in control of the match anyway, and Punk maybe makes a ringside appearance unexpectedly and doesn't touch Drew in any way, shape, or form.
I hope you're right about this SummerSlam prediction, because I've got these visions in my head of Gunther becoming the champion, Gunther working with Punk, Gunther working when a Rollins returns, Gunther, maybe working with Randy Orton again. That's the point I wanted to make earlier when you made your prediction. Is I hope this isn't the last time we see these two go at it. Next time, I think, if they have a rematch here within the coming weeks, great, whatever. But would love to see Gunther as champion defending against Randy Orton.
That would be excellent.
That would be excellent. And that's kind of the vision that I had, like Randy going for his 15th against Gunther after, Gunther got him at King of the Ring, I think is a good way to go. But man, I hope so. I think sooner rather than later on getting Gunther to the top spot. You got this guy. Get a belt on him and just go. God, he's so great to watch. Everything he does, I think, is just what's he known for? He's known for chops. He didn't chop Randy Orton that much.
No.
It wasn't a chop fest. A little more mat-based wrestling. He did take a couple spots off the top rope. But, man, I love his matches. There's no mistaking him, man. I think he's the number one wrestler in the company. I know he doesn't have a championship, man, but I think he's the number one wrestler in the company, and they have got a megastar on their hands.
It's time to capitalize.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes.
Pull that trigger.
He's special, guys. He is special. And it's no coincidence that he has the best match of almost every pay-per-view. It's not a coincidence. Whoever they put with him, if he's on the show, he's probably – that's something we need to look up. That's something we need to look up and maybe go back and look maybe a year's worth of pay-per-views or premium live events. Was he on the show? Did he have the best match on the show? Because most of the times it's going to be yes.
Yes.
Very often not. It's not. He doesn't have the best match of the show. So, man, I hope they pull the trigger on him. Hopefully it is a SummerSlam. We know now that it's Nia Jax at SummerSlam challenging whomever the champion will be. That's Bayley, who's the current champion. We also know Gunther has a title shot at SummerSlam. So we've got 2 matches already for SummerSlam. Man, this is going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting how this all plays out. If this pay-per-view is the lull for Clash and King of the Ring after it, then so be it. But
I mean, Money in the Bank.
that's what I meant. Money in the Bank. Clash.
I made that mistake earlier.
Let's say
King of the Ring.
I
did it earlier, so you were kind enough to smack me around.
If this is the lull before Clash and Money in the Bank, then so be it. But I think it was a good lull. I think it was a good bridge.
Yes.
And we got some good stuff out of this pay-per-view. We haven't even talked about the main event yet. What did you think of the main event build-up? We won't talk about the match yet, but what did you think about the build-up of this match?
I thought it was well put together. I loved that they played up the brass knucks with Logan Paul. Will he use them? Will he have them? Logan Paul saying, "No, I'm not. I don't need them. I'm not going to bring them." And then lo and behold, there's a second pair after he gives up the first pair, tucked in his pants on SmackDown, in a pocket of his pants on SmackDown. And last night, as we record this, but no, I thought the build was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
It's WWE does a good job with their builds, but this was one of the better ones for what I would consider a B or even a C pay-per-view. And that's not to negate the pay-per-view. The premium line of them. It was a great show all around. It had some really good moments. And for all intents and purposes, it's not one of their headline pay-per-views. It's not an A pay-per-view.
It's not right. It's not. So when we say B, we're not really ripping it because I thought it was a solid show all around.
Exactly.
But for a lesser known pay-per-view, a B show, yeah, Cody is so good. Cody is so good at what he does, whether it's in ring, on mic, how he carries himself, what he says, what he does. He's living that champion pedigree role model lifestyle. Anybody you put in there with him is going to be a good match. We've seen it with AJ Styles last week. Last month. Those guys, the great match was great.
Yes.
I had high expectations for this match because tell me the last bad Logan Paul match you saw.
I can't. He's
maybe when he first came in with Miz as a tag team. Maybe. And he was fine there. He worked well with Miz. This guy is so good, and he has less than 20 matches in his career. Think about that. He's headlined 2 Saudi shows. Think about that. He did it with Roman. He just did it with Cody. All the stupid antics, the streaming stuff, the energy drink stuff aside, this guy is special.
Yes. He has that it factor.
He gets it. He has the it factor, and he gets it. I would have loved to have seen a Shawn Michaels Logan Paul match.
Oh man, can you imagine?
Think about that. When Shawn Michaels could go, when he could go, not now. But just think about Shawn Michaels and Logan Paul and that kind of match that we would get out of that. Logan Paul is a big star. He carries himself like a big star. He acts like a big star. He performs like a big star. They have trusted him twice to headline 2 Saudi Arabian pay-per-views, 2 title shots, folks. And he's got less than 20 matches in his career. If I'm not mistaken, 25 matches. It's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
He's that good. And I hope he's defending the U.S. title at SummerSlam. And I hope it's a kick-ass match with whoever it is it's going to be. I hope he gets a good dancing partner at SummerSlam. I don't know who it's going to be. I have no idea. But you got to think he's from Cleveland. It's a hometown show for him. He's going to have a high-profile match.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the listeners out there can have suggestions for who Logan Paul faces at SummerSlam for the U.S. title. Nothing's been official yet, but we hope the U.S. title is defended on the SummerSlam card. Paul's from Cleveland. He's going to get a big hometown pop in that Cleveland Brown Stadium, that big outdoor show that they're doing at SummerSlam this year. Who is his opponent? Let us know. But I'm looking forward to it. What did you think? Did you think the match delivered? What did you think? We did have some technical difficulties with the feed. We did go back and watch it, how everything went. I gotta say, I like the structure of this match, how it went.
Yeah, I enjoyed the match itself. I'm going to focus my energy on the love-hate relationship I have with Cody Rhodes in this match.
Okay.
And it's part of it is more long-term with Cody. First of all, when was the last time you saw a damn vertebreaker in the WWE?
You tell me, because I know you're a big fan of the move. It's been a while.
It's been a long time, and I am almost 100% positive it was a move banned by Vince.
Very well could have been banned. It was banned at one time, and Vince is gone now. Cody's been known to use that move before. It looks awesome. It looks awesome. And
It's one of my favorite visualized moves of all time, and it looks like a match ender in any scenario.
it does. Like he hit it good on Logan, and God, Logan's good at. God, he's so good at selling. He's so good at selling. He's such a good chicken shit heel, but he backs it up.
And his facial expressions when something doesn't go his way are just brilliant.
I know people are up in arms that he's the U.S. champ. I love it. I think it's great because, I'm not saying this works with everybody. You know, it didn't work with David Arquette, but you get a celebrity that can go. They did it with Ronda Rousey when they had her earlier. Okay. You get the title, you get a title, the title on them. You're going to get their eye. You're going to get eyes. People are going to tune in to see, oh, they got a belt. I want to watch them defend it.
Yep.
People are tuning into Logan Paul matches
To watch him lose.
watch him get his ass kicked.
Yes.
That's why they're tuning in. That's great. That's what you want. But they're also tuning in, and they're coming away fans of Logan Paul. Like, man, he's a chicken shit heel, but he is good. Like, he is amazing in the ring. Amazing. I can't put him over enough. And I'm not a big fan of the guy. I'm not like, I don't watch any of his streams. I don't listen to his podcast. I don't know anything about like the people he runs with or his following. But man, he is special. And what they're doing with him, they've built him to be this huge star. They haven't thrown him out there week after week. Look how they've developed him.
Mm-hmm.
Look what they're doing with Jade Cargill. They're guiding them along. They're not exposing them to the flame unless they know they can handle it. They're putting them in the right situations.
It's a slow burn.
Logan had some very high-profile matches. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Rollins at WrestleMania, correct? Roman and Saudi. Cody and Saudi. I'm trying to think.
Miz, as I love the Miz, but they had a match. Was it
Rey Mysterio.
Rey
I mean, look who he's
Mysterio?
working with, folks. He's working with guys that are big-time stars, and he is producing in those matches. He's not being carried in those matches. He's producing in those matches. He's special. He really is. Like him or hate him, Logan Paul is freaking awesome.
Oh, for sure. I want to go back and talk about Cody though.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with Cody Rhodes, and I love Cody Rhodes. His presentation is great. His ring skills are great. His microphone skills are great. But why does he need to hit his finisher 3 times to end every damn match?
I think it was, in my opinion, it was okay at Mania because it was ending the story. It was ending the bloodline. It was ending Roman's day. Anytime now, it shouldn't take 3.
It weakens his finisher.
It weakens his finisher, and it kind of weakens how he did in Roman. Like, Roman got 3 of them. Okay, so it makes sense if, it took that many to take out the big, the tribal chief. But he gave 3 to, it should be 1. 2 max. But we shouldn't see 3.
No.
We shouldn't see 3, in my opinion.
And
Striker
it's
chiming
okay.
Striker chiming in here on the chat. real time here, in my opinion, one of the better Saudi shows. I don't think you're wrong there, Striker.
Oh,
There wasn't really a stinker on the show. Wasn't really a stinker on the show. You can talk about the Valkyria Jax match being kind of a quiet low point of the crowd, but there wasn't a stinker on this. But get back to what you're talking about with Cody. I'm sorry.
no. I mean, I agree with you that Roman deserved to get 3 because he held the title for over 3 years. No one can beat him. But even if it were, I would be okay if it were one crossroads earlier in the match and somehow they managed to kick out, and then he hits it again to end it a little bit later on. But 3 in a row for anyone who is not, I mean, okay, we talk about Logan Paul being in a match with Roman in the Saudi show. So while Paul lost that match, I can still see him being looked at as a level because he was in that match.
He hung with Roman, and it wasn't a bad match. I thought it was a very entertaining match. I mean, it's not going to be known as a modern Matt classic, but it was a good match. It was entertaining. Was it not? Did you at any point of the Logan Paul Roman Reigns match go, "This sucks. This is boring"? No, not at all. And he's losing. He's losing. He lost to Roman. He lost to Cody, man, but he's $1 million. He's so money.
Someone like Logan Paul should not have to take the crossroads 3 times in a row to lose the match.
Was that third one for the whole culmination of the use of brass knuckles?
Probably.
Maybe we see the face using excess of force to put away the forces of evil here. That's kind of maybe how I'm looking at it now. It was more back. It wasn't. It was a little bit different than the Roman ones. These 3 were quicker. The ones with Roman had a little more oomph, a little more to them. So I think maybe it was the proverbial burying of the hatchet between the 2. Like, this feud's over. I'm ending it 1, 2, 3 with 3 of them. Maybe. But I see what you're saying. You shouldn't have to hit 3. I agree with you. I wish you would have stopped at 2 here. Because it devalues the Roman finish. But also, there had been cheating going on by Logan in this feud. And
so this was kind of the exclamation point.
The exclamation point, yeah. Kind of giving it to him one more time.
Which I get that. But I hope moving forward, Cody does not have to use his finish 3 times in a row to beat an opponent. It just, to me, it makes the crossroads look like the weakest finish in the book.
Right. No, I agree. I don't want to see that finisher become devalued. People can be like, well, Stone Cold and the Stunner. Stone Cold went around and stunned everybody. So it was always going to be an excess when he used it. You would see it a ton.
But that's different.
But he never did like 5 stunners in a row.
Right.
With somebody, like.
One stunner lays out everybody.
I mean, I know he probably did it before, but like, I know what you mean. You don't want to see Cody's move be devalued.
Right.
When he does it 3 times to somebody else. I think we both agree on that.
For sure.
Overall letter grade for the show. What are you giving this one, Haas?
I'm going to go B-.
I'm thinking the same. I'm thinking the same thing. If it's not a B-, it's a lower B, which I guess is a B-. But I mean, I don't have a problem throwing a lower B on this one and sending it home for the parents to call and complain about.
Yeah.
I thought it proved what it needed to prove. It checked the boxes. It was entertaining. I wasn't really a stinker on the cards. That's a good thing for me. I'm giving it like an 82, 83 B. That's where I stand with this show. Love the Gunther match. Love the Cody and Logan Paul match. And the rest of the show was fun. I had my expectations for those 2 matches, and they lived up to it. And the rest of the undercard was okay. It was fine. So that's where I said with a low B.
I agree completely. And next time we hit the airways, Nick, we're going to talk about another big event.
Yeah, as we record this, no editing here on the show. We don't spice it up. We just cut a separate show, and that's fine. We like doing it that way. stuff doesn't get lost in the shovel. We can get plenty of discussion, everything. But as we record this post King and Queen of the Ring on Saturday afternoon of Memorial Day, we have on Sunday Memorial Day one of the AEW big pay-per-views, one of their big ones of the year, kind of their 5-year anniversary. It's Double or Nothing, where it all started in Vegas for them. A loaded card. There's some good matches on this card. When I say loaded, I say because of bulk. There are 10 matches on it. And I think the 11th one got added with the Trios title with the Bang Bang Gang against Death Triangle. I think so. Yes, absolutely. But we will be reviewing that show on Monday afternoon.
Monday at noon, exactly.
At noon. Yes, high noon. On Monday, we'll be reviewing that with a good friend, the play-by-play voice of SCW Pro, Tim Regal, will be joining us and helping us break down Double or Nothing. We're excited for that. I love these afternoon shows, man.
I do too.
Now we got a show to do tomorrow. If we had to go back-to-back nights, I'd be, but there is a little bit of break in between. So say what you want about WWE and their overseas booking, where they book overseas, how many overseas shows they do. But it's making money, folks, and it's putting on good shows. And I love afternoon wrestling. I really do. I loved it when All In came from London. It was cool to have an afternoon show. These Europe shows, Saudi Arabia show. I love these Saturday shows. Something cool about watching high stakes wrestling at noon on a Saturday. But I love what they're doing. Keep it up.
I agree, man. I'm excited. I can't wait because Clash at the Castle is going to be another afternoon show. However, we will be watching that one on delay and reviewing that on Sunday of that week. That is the weekend of June 15th. We've already announced this. Just a reminder, we are going to be in Waterloo, Iowa. Just 3 weeks from today?
Is that if 3 weeks? June 15th, we will be in Waterloo, Iowa. We're taking Card on the road. Card Subject to Change will be doing a live podcast an hour before the show. We'll have interviews with wrestlers.
Nope, we're not announcing who we're interviewing. Oh, you were just saying wrestlers.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Yes, we're going to have interviews. We're going to have interviews with wrestlers that are going to be on the card that night. They're going to be joining us before the show. I'm not saying who yet. We will have wrestlers on the show. We're doing a live podcast before the show. If you're in the area, come on out and say hi. But definitely wanted to try something new, and we're crossing that one off the list as we take Card on the road this summer.
For sure. Stay tuned to both our socials and Absolute Pro Wrestling socials as we announce the guests that we'll be having on in the coming weeks. I'm looking forward to that. Next Sunday, a week from tomorrow, we are welcoming in Uncle T, Solomon Tupu, big wrestler in the Chicago area, Black and Brave graduate. I'm excited for that one.
I am too.
I think it'll be a good show, and then more to come later on. That's all I feel like announcing right now.
Yeah, we're not one of these streaming shows that you watch where they have all 10 episodes available. Now we just kind of give you a little bit at a time. We're old school in that way. We do a little preview, do a little tease, but yes, we will be reviewing Double or Nothing on Monday. That'll be our next episode. That'll be episode 126. Next week, episode 127 will be with, you said, Mr. Solomon Tupu. And you know of our episode on June 15th, the day of Clash at the Castle. That's a big day, wrestling-wise. Of course, Clash at the Castle, the WWE Premium Live event. That's the next one that will be airing. But that's also when we take Card on the road and go to Absolute Pro Wrestling and do our live podcast before the show. Looking forward to it. Waterloo, Iowa. Keep our socials in mind and handy. We'll keep you updated with our updates of who we get. We're really looking forward to taking the show on the road. Kind of out of our comfort zone. I mean, I love sitting here in my garage and watching pay-per-views, and I get to walk over 5 feet, jump on here, and talk about pay-per-views and shows. But it's gonna be fun to get out, see a live show, and be on the road and talking wrestling.
I'm really excited. I love talking wrestling. I love talking with wrestlers and helping them get their name out there as much as they help us get our name out there. I want to say thank you for tuning in live if you've been joining us here. I know, kind of an impromptu episode. We did announce that we'd be doing it, but didn't have a specific time. Just was going to go as soon as the show was over and we were ready. So thank you for rolling with the punches today. This has been another fun-filled edition of Card Subject to Change, powered by Pies Pizza, built by Jeremy Modeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook Financial. We will see you all Monday with our good friend Tim Regal in the studio talking all about Double or Nothing.
Like, follow, subscribe, comment, hit us up on socials. We'd love to hear from you. As of course, we're on here talking wrestling. We talk wrestling all the time. Hit us up with your questions, and we would love to chat with you about wrestling.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.